Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again. Now, I'm about to head off to Queensland for 4 days, so you won't see any content out of me, that is streaming or YouTubing. But before I do that, I wanted to just get a little bit triggered about something, and that is divination cards. Moreover, what happened here is the lucky deck came out, so that is this thing here. Uh, about, I don't know what, a couple weeks ago, something like that, and it is a divination card. Now, what it does is when you find 9 of them, you can turn it in, and you get a stacked deck. Now, what a stacked deck does is gives you 10 cards, individual cards, on a stack. You right click each one, and then you get a divination card out of it, and it's completely random what you get, basically. So, a gambler, as you know, is. Turn in 5 and you get 1 divination card, and it's usually pretty crap because you got a real high chance of getting the crap ones, since they've made those a lot more common, and the rare ones are basically really hard and rare to get from the gambler. And the lucky deck is supposed to be somewhat of a more better gambler, I suppose, because it's supposed to give you a much better chance of getting the high end divination cards, and not just be really heavily weighted towards the bad stuff like Carrion Crow, or another gambler, or whatever else. So it came out, what, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I have been farming it. I've been trying to anyway, since this thing drops in tier 7 maps, supposedly most of them anyway, I think. Drops in what? So far it says Jungle Valley, Terrace, and Torture Chamber. Now, for the most part, I've farmed a lot of Jungle Valley and a lot of Torture Chamber. No, Terrace, and a few Torture Chambers, but I've done something like, I don't know, 50 of these, like 20 of these, maybe 15 of these, something like that. I have essentially brought 4, I think, characters through like 80 to 90 as I've been making those characters, and trying to do mostly tier 7s at a certain stage. So from like 80 to 86, for example, I'd mostly be doing tier 7s. It's a lot of tier 7s. It's been a lot of grind through jungle valleys and terraces and such, in one specific type of map. And I have yet to see a single fucking card. So for something that looked kind of fun and I thought would be a bit of a, fun gamble, I wanted to just find one card at the end because it was just going to be, kind of a challenge to see if even one could freaking drop for me. Because they're fairly expensive. They haven't really changed in price in the past 2 weeks. It's been, 15 to 30C. A couple of people have made videos on them, and, it hasn't looked very worth doing. Uh, at this cost anyway, just buying them and then trying to turn them in. It's been pretty bad value. I just wanted to see if I could farm it myself eventually and then turn it in, and it just got me nowhere. And didn't even find a single card. Left me a bit crushed. As well as the fact that the other thing is Formless Sea came out at the same time, and that is to make a Varanastra. Now, same thing, I kind of wanted to farm one of those and use a Varanastra as well, but after something like 30, 40, 50 reefs, I don't know, just absolutely no cards. Even stacking the map as heavily as possible for like quantity and quality, quantity of, drops, pack size, all that. You just haven't found anything, and they're really expensive, they're really hard to get, and it's made Varanastra a pretty goddamn hard item to get on the new leagues, which is a fun and, well, fun to build around item. Pretty overpowered, I suppose, if you can get the right scenario, the right build for it, but it is a fairly niche, fun item. So, point is, what kind of purpose do divination cards serve is the argument I'm making here, or question I'm asking. What really do divination cards do in the game these days? Because it's supposed to be some sort of a targeted farm system, right? That's what it was sold as initially. You're supposed to be able to, farm yourself a Comb's Heart or whatever the card system or the reward gives. You're supposed to be able to go to a certain area and have a different opportunity to find the item you want, rather than just praying for it or buying it from other people after saving a bunch of currency. And to me, so far, it just hasn't seemed to have really done that. Every single time I've gone to try and farm a certain card or a certain item, I've usually just been left crushed by really low amounts of drops, and things that just don't seem worth it in the end because it's too random and too hard, too spaced apart, for example, I should say. So take this, the offering 1 out of 8 Chevron's wrappings, I suppose, is a decent example. I think you get that off of, Dodri? Chevron in core or throughout the game, in the quest line. And I've killed her in, I don't know, fucking hundreds of times, however many throughout the past, whenever this was introduced. And this is the first time I've ever seen this one, so you can't really targeted farm that. Likewise with, let's say, Vol's Devotions, Brittle Emperor drop, that's just too damn rare as well. Some people report that they have 1200 kills for their achievement over here, the challenges. You do 1200 and you get 0 cards out of it. Now 1200 is a lot. Throughout the league so far, just doing Dried Lake casually and leveling characters as I go, haven't been forced into Dried Lake farm, and I've got 360 kills. That's for the entire league, and I play quite a lot. So to farm 1200, it takes you, I don't know, a few days, something like that. And there's every chance you get 0 cards out of that. That could happen. So it doesn't really give you another avenue for farming said item, does it? All that Divination cards have kind of done so far is just create an extra bit of currency floating around in the system, because you'll occasionally just find a Divination card and go, ooh, there's another 10 chaos I just found. Because you're going to pocket it into your stash and then you're going to sell it to someone else. Or you can then spend a bunch of your currency to buy enough Divination cards to make a set for this Comb's Heart, for example, and put it together and then turn it in, and there's your Comb's Heart. Really, what it hasn't done is create targeted farm as an option in most cases. There are a few, little examples. Something like, I don't know, the Warlord, that's kind of rare, not a great example, I suppose. What was I going to say? Dapper Prodigy, or Chains That Bind. So these have just, they're fairly targetable and farmable, but they are still random in the outcome. They give you a 6-link body armor. So you don't know what that's going to be. It can be a crap one, can be a low level one, can be one you don't need at all. What these have done is just kind of drive the 6-link price and economy down into the ground in this game. They haven't really done much beyond that. If you want to actually get a 6-link armor for your build, you're probably not going to go through these because it's pretty damn unlikely for you to get the correct 6-link or base for your character. But they are targetable. You can farm them. You can farm residences non-stop. You'll make these happen. You can farm crematoriums non-stop and you'll make these happen. So they are kind of an example of something you can farm, and it does feel kind of good to turn these in, and it can be worth it, but it's just still kind of RNG based. So what really just feels bad is the actual items you want, like a Lucky Deck, for example. Haven't seen a single one. Your Varanastra, you can't really targeted farm that. You have to just sit around and wait for people to log on and snipe these before other people snipe them. These are all offline, by the way. There's absolutely none online that you can actually buy from people, because at this stage there's probably 4 dudes on the entire league who have made enough Formless Seas to get a Varanastra, so there's 4 Varanastras floating around. It's just pretty absurd. What it really should be, I suppose, I guess this would be my sort of opinion as a solution, is just make cards, the stacks a lot higher, so that the cards can then become less rare, and you find them a lot more often, so you feel like you're working towards your goal at least to some extent, even if it still takes you the same amount of time, ultimately. Or at least reduces the variance at which you can not find those cards in forever. Let's say right now their design philosophy is for you to farm a Varanastra, it's supposed to take 1,000 reefs on average. You could, given how rare this card is, you could not see any in 1,000. Or you could see all of them in, if you're really lucky, in 100. But the point I'm making is, if you, instead of saying you only need 7, you increase that number to 30, and then reduce the drop rate to a certain amount, so you can actually work towards it, but still have the drop rate to be at about on average 1,000 maps. After, doing 200 maps, you walk away with 5 cards or something. That at least lets you feel like you're getting somewhere, whereas you could walk away with 0 after all that time spent and feel like you're getting absolutely nowhere. So I think that would be a better solution. It'd still feel kind of bad because then you're just stacking cards to infinity. Um, you know, this one's already pretty high, 12 out of 13. You get your first one, you do feel you're pretty damn far away, but Prophecy has made this a lot more common and more achievable, and Voltaxic is cheap as piss anyway. Tabula Rasa is actually a good example of something you can farm, targetable, and that's, actually just one of the successes of divination cards in the game, I think. Not too many people are gonna farm your aqueducts or channels for this, but you certainly can. So if you need a tabula for a character early on, or if you just want to try and farm some divines, a bit more of a perk, do some channels and some waterways, then you will, actually get something out of it. Point is, a lot of these cards, there's so many cards in the game now. They're introducing like, I don't know, dozens per year now, or per league, or whatever. And we're flooded with them as well. And yet so many of them you're never going to see or complete through the game yourself, and it's kind of frustrating given what they were supposed to be, I think. Another example that I'd really kind of, triggers me, I suppose, is Jack in the Box. It used to be a lot more common. It's a fun fucking card. You turn it in, there's only 4 of them, and you get a random unique. Can be an old world unique, can be anything, so there's a good chance, well, not a good chance, there's a chance of you getting some baller unique and being really happy with the outcome. And we farmed those when they first came out because they were of a decent drop rate. GGG didn't like that because they thought that was just too easy an avenue to get your random uniques, and they crushed that drop rate into the ground. Now since then, I've completed maybe 1 or 2 sets naturally while leveling characters through Sans, docks, all that, because I think that's where they drop, mostly just City of San, docks, something like that. Throughout the quest mode, I find one of these maybe every 2 weeks, something like that. To target farm them, you're pretty much wasting your time because you'll just not get anything out of it. It's really rare. And you can buy them now for several Ks or something, and it's really usually not worth turning in anyway, given the price and the availability, because it'll probably be something bad. But that was a fun one that then got nerfed into the ground and kinda left you nowhere feeling bad. It's just a bit of a rant. Didn't really know what else to make a video about for the day, but what do you guys think about divination cards? I feel like in some cases they have devalued a lot of certain markets. 6-link Holy Chainmails, well, you can buy those for like 5 chaos nowadays. The whole thing, not the cards. I don't know. And in some cases it's not even worth hoping for. I mostly am just a bit crushed and demoralized because I was really hoping to at least I wanted to farm a lucky deck because, gambling's fun. Turn them in, maybe get lucky with whatever cards I come out of it. But after farming all my tier 7s, I was just praying for one lucky deck drop in the end. That never happened. And it means I probably can't farm these myself, ever. Along with the Varanastra cards, Formless Sea. So I don't know, just thought I'd open a bit of a discussion there. Hope the video's not too boring. Hope you have your own opinions about divination cards. Maybe they are opposite to mine. Maybe you think they're just fine the way they are. But, yeah. I really feel like all they do right now is just increase the ways that you can get currency in the game, which is fine, I suppose. It does mean you're just going to have a lot more currency a lot easier because you're going to be running around the game and you're just finding extra currency on the ground technically. You find a Dapper Prodigy through your Resonance, you could sell it for 10C early on in the league, something like that. That's 10C you wouldn't have otherwise had. Same with killing Dried Lake, Vol. You're farming them just for XP, you randomly get your Brutal Emperor card and there's 2x you would have never had. But does it really serve its purpose of farming? I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. Anyway, see you guys when I next log on, and thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good day and weekend. Sure, weekend. See you next time.